What is up, guys? This is a series where we jump onto the PvE, take a look at the changes, and see who I think is going to be really strong moving forward into the next patch. I just wanted to remind you guys as well, we still have the $150 RP headset and mouse giveaway, which you can find out about and enter in down below. So this patch is due out in a few days. It's unlikely anything else is going to change. It seems way more, though, about indirect changes, and there are a few AD carry things to look at first, not even just my usual bias here. The biggest changes are two items for us, really. Essence Reaver and Infinity Edge have had their AD increased to 70 and Ghostblade reduced to 60. An extra 5 or losing 5 isn't going to be the biggest deal, but it's more about the difference between getting Reaver and a Ghostblade now. It's going to be 10 AD, which isn't bad, and if we get both, then the difference is 15. Really, it's not going to affect like the Misfortune or Lucian builds too much because they're more about stacking the Black Cleaver, plus they both get an Infinity Edge later, which kind of cancels the AD out. It's more about making our auto-attacking champions just that little bit better. Ashe and Sivir are going to be the main ones here because they build both Essence Reaver and Infinity Edge and are already really good right now. Caitlyn and Jinx are also ones who will use the Infinity Edge at least, but again, they're already sneaking up to the top, so it's just kind of making them even better. The other item change is to both of the Last Whisper upgrades, so Lord Dominic's Regards and the Mortal Reminder are both getting the AD increased by 10. The thing is, when you put all of this together, so Essence Reaver, Infinity Edge, and a Last Whisper, you're going to be getting an extra 20 AD, whereas you're losing 5 AD from the Yumu's Ghostblade. When you're getting a Ghostblade, you normally get a Black Cleaver for the armor penetration side of things, right? So actually, you're kind of losing out on a lot of AD now if you go down that route. While I do still think that using a Black Cleaver is really effective on an AD carry like a Misfortune or a Lucian, I think it's just kind of buffing the other side of things. So buffing the Ashe, Sivir, the Jinx, the Caitlyn, who are going to be buying Essence Reaver or Infinity Edge or both, and then a Last Whisper. Remember as well, you're getting this extra AD from these 4 items for literally nothing. Like, you're not paying anything at all to get that bonus AD. The item costs are staying the same, so it's literally just a nice little buff for us. I'd honestly expect Ashe, Caitlyn, Sivir, and Misfortune to be the ones to watch out for right now when you're picking your AD carry. Ashe just has this crazy damage and utility, slow to kite people, the poke, the tank shred steal as well, and I actually think moving into the next patch, Ashe is going to be the best AD carry. Caitlyn actually has a better mid game right now with how we're building her, a good lane phase, and an insane late game as well. Sivir is just really good damage and utility to help her other carry laners and carry jungler do more work. Misfortune is the different one here, who's just a really good AD caster right now, probably the best actually AD caster, and just has very high damage. Kog'Maw and Jinx as well are both kind of hiding a bit more in the shadows, but quietly carrying a lot of games, so they'll both probably make more of an appearance this patch. Before we move on from AD carries, I guess this is kind of actually for any ranged champion, but Double-Edged Sword in the Ferocity tree is now the same for everyone, so 3% more damage, taking 1.5% extra. With Feast nerf a couple of patches ago, I honestly think this is probably the way to go now for Masteries. 3% extra damage is a good chunk when you get later into the game and have a bunch of items. There are actually a few Mastery changes, but the other big one is to Grasp of the Undying. It's now going to do a bit more damage, but heal for less, which I think is actually good. It encourages like better trading, but it's more punishing with less free sustain. This is kind of a kick in the nuts though to those damage tanks like Echo, Fizz, Maokai, who used it for sustain, but they'll only be slightly weaker. The problem is more like the meta is shifting. Fizz is probably the best mix of carry and tank right now, but he's getting 2 nerfs, so his E cooldown is going up a little bit. It works out as just like over a second difference when we have cooldown reduction. The other thing is his W damage is down though by 2% at rank 5. That is actually going to hurt him quite a bit for sure, like especially with the Triforce and Wit's End carry build with so much attack speed. So if we have like Fizz and Echo taking a bit of a back seat, we have a bunch of others who can come up and be even better. Alawi is the first one. I'm not sure if that's actually how you say it or not, but I'm going to go with that. So she got good buffs last patch and slowly kind of coming up. It's better than she seems at least. The thing is, nobody played her at all, so now you're having to learn her to kind of use her strength. Remember when I said before how strong Misfortune was a couple of patches ago? It actually took like 2 patches to see her get to the top because people were learning her at the same time. Pantheon again is very good against carry laners. Irelia, Jax, Swain, he's going to punish these guys early and snowballs very hard, which is really good for this kind of meta of dragons and securing and roaming around. Speaking of these guys, Irelia, Jax, Swain, all very good right now, and the carry top meta is definitely going to be back, especially if we're seeing like Fizz and Echo and Maokai drop off. These guys are just going to get more popular. One of the things about these top changes is that if we get carry tops, we normally see tanks coming back into the jungle because we kind of need at least some sort of front line. Eventually, I think we will probably get there, maybe not this patch, but next patch, but for now it seems like people just want to kill everyone. So the meta is probably going to be either tanks or early pressure junglers who also scale. Games are lasting a bit longer now, so we have to be able to do well and finish the job. Graves and Elise are two very good carry junglers right now, and they're actually very underrated. Elise is coming back after the Nidalee nerfs, and Graves is still solid throughout the game anyway. Kha'Zix and Hecarim are two of the best carry junglers right now for damage, because they have the advantage of having these more mobile AD carries, supports, mid laners, even carry top laners who are all easier to kill earlier into the game, and it just makes it easier for you to gank and snowball. Volibear and Skarner are the best hybrid tanks with damage who also scale. It's kind of perfect actually, a bit too perfect really. By the way, Warrior into Triforce Skarner is absolutely disgusting. Your Q is spammable and has such a high AD ratio, meaning you do so much damage. When people figure that out, we're all in a lot of trouble. Let's move on to the mid lane meta, because it isn't going to shift much because of this patch directly, but it's actually kind of knock-on effects. There are a few that we're going to be seeing a lot more that are stronger now. Malzahar has kind of settled down and is now pretty decent, even if a bit weird and clunky to play. The first time you're going to play him, you'll think you'll do no damage, but once you get to grips with him, you'll be carrying really hard. Especially with like these Irelia, Jax, Kayle picks now, even like Elise, I guess, like these kind of diving champions, you lock them down with your ultimate and you're sorted. It's very effective against divers. Cassio got good buffs last patch, again was kind of barely played though, and is a lot better, but people are just kind of slowly realizing it. Same with like a Lowy or how Misfortune was. Your ultimate is very good versus dive teams. You're actually better when someone is diving onto you rather than chasing, so think of champions like Irelia again, and it's very solid lane phase against more passive mages, which is what we're seeing right now. Vlad is another one that is everywhere in the LCS right now, and you can actually beat him quite easily, I think, with some healing reduction items and a bit of coordination, but that's not exactly solo queue. He just gets out of control. Like when he gets ahead, you are so boned and you can't really do very much. It's not difficult to get there in our games, which is what's making him so good. Swain, finally, I kind of mentioned him top lane, but he's still a beast even after the nerfs. Kind of hard to deal with him again, same as Vlad, and I think actually we're going to see him more mid lane now when we're getting these more carry picks that dump on him in the top lane. So let's just round out this video with a few of my own picks. This is nothing to do with the PvE, but just some predictions based on everything else. Let me know if you like this little addition to the end of the video. So Amumu, very high AoE crowd control, which is perfect for locking down slippery dive champions and very good in a team fight meta, which we're in right now. If you think about it, an Irelia jumping in, she can dash between different minions and different people, and it's actually kind of hard to aim a skill shot onto her, but when you just have this massive circle of lockdown, it's much easier. The other thing is very heavy invade junglers are pushed down a bit. Nidalee Kindred are not as good, which makes his early farm to 6 a lot safer. Zilean is another good teamfight champion with his ultimate slows and double bombs. Utility is going to become much more valuable mid lane because of the damage we get from ADs. Top laners, maybe even junglers being more than enough now. He's also very good against heavy burst or dive comps, which is what we're seeing a lot of now. Basically, like everyone is kind of reacting to this OP Irelia and just kind of locking her down and shutting her down. This is another one who does kind of that same job. Zac top or jungle, very tanky, good damage as well, long range engage, plus actually disruption to stay alive. It's not enough to just be tanky anymore. AD carries are deliberately aiming at killing tanks, like they're building this Black Cleaver or just a lot of crit. So it's moved from absorbing their auto attacks to stopping them attacking in the first place. Zac has his bounce, his knock up with his engage as well, and he even has his passive to last a bit longer, which is kind of perfect right now. Finally, Twitch for AD carries. More mobile AD carries means easier targets, and it's the same with supports like Zyra, Nami, and Janna that we're seeing a lot of now. Carry laners and junglers are going to melt earlier into the game with your ultimate burst too. You can stay at a higher range, which is really good against these guys as well, so they can't get in range to dive on you. But I think more of the assassin play style of Twitch is what I'm looking at to be really good this patch. Anyway, so those are going to be my predictions moving into the next patch of the strongest champions, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share, but for now, let's go to the robots.